Yeah, hi guys, just waiting for a few more folks to join in. So we'll get started in the next 2 to 3 minutes. Hi guys, so I believe we good to start now. So guys, let me first of all thank you for joining me on a Thursday afternoon for this webinar. It does speak a lot about your interest in data science and analytics. So guys, before we get started, let me just give you a quick introduction about myself. So my name is Akshat Gupta. I am a part of the admissions team for analytics programs at Great Lakes Institute of Management. So guys, we've been involved in analytics education now for over 5 years through Great Lakes and Great Learning. So being one of the early movers in the space, we've had close relationships with the analytics industry and the companies. So over the last 5 years, since the time that we got into analytics education, we've been able to understand the market, what is the actual requirement, coming from companies. What is it that these companies look for when they hire? What are the big opportunities, that are there for professionals? And more importantly, what are the things that you need to learn in order to leverage on those opportunities? So, guys, the way we've planned this webinar is that there are two major parts to it. So, the first part is about the analytics landscape. what's happening around us, and why is data science and engineering and rather analytics a critical skill set for professionals around. The second part of this webinar would be about the program at hand, which is the postgraduate program in data science and engineering. So what is the program about? What makes it unique? And the frequently asked questions. You are most welcome to type in any questions that you have in the chat box, and I'll try my best to answer all the questions towards the end. So guys, with this, let's quickly get started with the presentation. So guys, let me just start with some key facts about the analytics industry. So the analytics industry is projected to grow 8x in the next 8 years. The revenue, which was $2 billion in 2016, is expected to reach $16 billion by 2025. So guys, important here for you guys, to understand that when an industry grows at such a rapid rate, the opportunities, that the professionals get is also incomparable to others. So analytics industry today, is among, if you talk about the growth rate, it's the fastest across different sectors, different domains. You take into account IT, you take into account the construction industry, so to say, the mechanical industry, the automobile industry. None of these industries, is growing at such a rapid rate, the rate at which the analytics industry today is growing. One of the stats shared by NASSCOM was that by the end of 2018, India would be requiring close to 2 lakh analytics professionals. And going by the most optimistic figures that we have at hand as of today, the number currently stands at 15 to 20,000 max. So there is more than a 10x gap in the demand and supply of candidates who are well versed with analytics and the tools. So as a professional, guys, what you should do is leverage onto this massive opportunity that awaits you. But the keyword again, is for you to be equipped with the right skill set that is required to leverage onto this opportunity. In our own conversations, that we've had with our corporate partners, we've identified, that there's somewhere close to 600 firms right now that are actively looking for analytics professionals. And it's not just people coming with a higher experience set. These companies are actively looking for people with 1 year, 2 years, 3 years of experience, people who are freshers, who've just graduated, and they're well versed with analytics tools. They can visualize data in a better manner, come up with better insights, do a better analysis of the data that is available, and hence then help the companies in providing better insights to their customers and their consumers. So guys, overall, these three facts, the growth in the revenue, the gap in the talent supply and the demand, and the companies that are looking to hire professionals, it highlights the massive opportunities that analytics can provide for professionals like you and me. So important that we leverage onto this, we get equipped with the right skill set that is required to leverage onto this. Guys, let's be honest, if not today, tomorrow you'll have to get into this. There's just no two ways about it. And the later you enter into it, the more you'll realize, the sooner you would have done it, the better it would have been for you, and the better results it would have yielded for you. So with this fact, just let's move to the next slide. So guys, let's now quickly take a look at the data revolution that is taking place, and what exactly it is that is driving this change. And, across the globe, across industries, across businesses, and even as consumers, the amount of data that we are consuming, as well as the amount of data that we are producing, has been growing exponentially. A quick look at this chart will show you how data has been exploding every 4 to 5 years or so. Now there have been a few trends that have actually made this happen. So first, is that the business's perspective on data has changed. Earlier, especially if you talk about the mid to late 90s, or rather, the early 2001, 2002 as well, companies, would consider data as a cost, or rather as a liability. But today data is being actually seen as an asset. You think of any company, let us take the examples of the ones that we frequently use. For example, say a WhatsApp, or a Facebook, or a Flipkart, or an Uber. For any of these social media companies, or any of these e-commerce companies, data is a key asset for all of them. It is, the better control and analysis of data that is helping them make better decisions, and then, eventually provide better customer experience. And it's not just as if these social media companies, or the e-commerce companies are, just benefiting from better analysis of this data. You take the examples of any company. You take example of an automobile company. Even hospitals today are getting into, the hospital analytics. Whenever they're coming up with a new drug or something, different number of, experiments are run just to basically come up with the fact as to, what eventually the outcome of this particular drug would be. And similar, it is similar across different industries. So important that you do understand this fact. No, no, let's just consider the case of online shopping, for example. So irrespective of whether you show up on Flipkart or an Amazon, you would see that anytime you are adding something to the cart, or anytime we browse a product, the platform automatically, starts recommending certain products basis our interest. And this is something we've all experienced. So in analytics terms, this is known as a recommendation engine. Now, this recommendation engine again is completely built on data. It is built on you as a consumer. What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What is your consumer behavior? And that again is basically gauged by the amount of data that they're actually able to, capture about you through different means. So through the number of clicks that you're making, through the products that you're browsing, anything. So they are capturing that data, and basis this, they're recommending different products to you guys. So now, guys, what this eventually means is that companies, today need better infrastructure, they need better capabilities, and they actually need better tools to capture and process this data. So this means, that there's a huge opportunity for professionals like you and me, who are looking to build a career for themselves into analytics. So guys, just have a look at this image quickly. Facebook has close to 900,000 logins. YouTube sees about 4.1 million views, and Twitter has about 452,000 tweets sent. Now, as aspiring analytics professionals, let's just see what kind of a picture this infographic is presenting to us. First of all, that we are living in a data hungry world, which is obviously going to increase as we move ahead. Beyond that, just imagine if there are 3.5 million search queries happening on Google in a minute. Now, each of those search queries, would actually throw up so many data points for analysis. Now, just imagine the amount of data mining and analysis that Google would be doing. Similarly, let's take the example of Facebook. 900,000 logins happening on Facebook, and each of these logins, further creates so much of data through the videos that we share, through the pictures that we share, through the chats that we have, you know, so through all of this, Facebook is actually able to, profile their customers, which again they sell to the advertisers and make money, and that apparently makes it one of the most valuable companies today. Now, for all of these companies, guys, data, as I said, is the driving factor. Their entire business model runs on how much data they're able to capture, and then subsequently analyze it. And for all of this, you need competent professionals who can actually work with large scales of data and analyze it, which again showcases the need for professionals in data science and analytics. So moving on to the next slide, guys. So why is data analysis a required skill set today? So as per a report published by Gartner, every knowledge professional has to be a data scientist today. Okay, analytics today is not something which is restricted to people coming from a particular vertical or a domain. Even our own alumni who've graduated from our analytics programs are working across domains, ranging from an IT to a banking to consulting, manufacturing, automobile, e-commerce. Okay, if you also have a look at the graph, and as I was presenting it to you in the first slide as well, there has been an exponential growth in the analytics market from 2016 to 2017 across all sectors, and the growth, as I said, is expected to be far higher for 2017 to 2018. Recruiters today are no more just looking at people with fancy degrees and skill sets. They want candidates who are coming with specialized skill sets and degrees, and that's actually the need of the market today. Now moving on to the next slide, guys. Let's just have a quick look about the data industry and the jobs. So if you notice, the first article, it came into the Business World magazine. Probably it's from a few weeks back. Okay, and the article says that right now India requires close to 90,000 data science analytics professionals. And and again, if you notice the second article, again highlighting the data analytics jobs are facing a huge shortage of skilled talent. So these are all industry articles highlighting what we've been discussing. According to Glassdoor, to be a data scientist is actually the best job in US. Then there is another article highlighting LinkedIn, which is a portal that a lot of us very frequently use for networking, for finding jobs and all of that. On LinkedIn, the fastest growing jobs today are in data science and machine learning. Similarly, there is another article highlighting that data scientists today are among the highest paid ones. So guys, all of this again presents a very clear picture of the massive opportunity that awaits, and the need for you and me as professionals to capitalize on it. All right, guys. So this brings me to the end of the first part of the webinar, which was about the analytics industry, the analytics landscape. I hope I was able to give you a sound understanding of the analytics market. Why is it a need of the hour? Okay, and the opportunities that await. So as I was saying, and again to emphasize on the point, there is no going around it. You will have to do it, if not today, then tomorrow. Okay? That I'll just quickly move on to The second part of the program of the webinar, which is the program at hand, the postgraduate program in data science and engineering. So guys, before I start off with the details of the program, a quick look at the Great Lakes analytics credentials. So we've close to 6 top ranked programs right now. More than 5,000 students have graduated from our programs and are working at pretty high position when it comes to analytics. We've delivered more than 2 million plus hours of learning into analytics. We've close to 300 plus industry experts with us who have paneled with us. They basically, take a number of guest lectures, a number of Q&A sessions, act as mentors to you guys. We have more than 25 of India's best data science faculty with us. A bit about the rankings. So we've been ranked number 1 in analytics programs by the Analytics India magazine for the last 3 consecutive years, 2015, 2016, and 17. We've been ranked number 3 in the 1-year programs by the Outlook magazine, and we've been ranked number 4th in private B schools by Careers 360. So this was majorly about our analytics credentials. Now let's move on to the program. So guys, the postgraduate program in data science and engineering, is meant for people who've just graduated or early career professionals, with 0 to 36 months of work experience. The program basically is meant to equip you with the right skills and the knowledge required that is basically required to break into roles such as a data analyst, a technology analyst, a data scientist, a junior data scientist, and all of these roles. Because this program, as the slide says, it is for you if you obviously are looking to build a career for yourselves into data science roles and companies. If you want an academic pedigree that is respected in the industry and can not just help you get a job, but rather have a successful career ahead, wherein you want to learn through in-person classroom sessions and hands-on learning. One thing that we've realized, we have a number of programs we have a number of programs running for analytics, online programs, blended programs, different programs with different modes of delivery. But the reason we've made this program a complete classroom program is for a very simple reason. Somehow I come from that school of thought, that the learning which happens sitting in an actual classroom is incomparable to any other mode of delivery. So guys, upon completion of this program, you'll be well versed in analytics tools and technologies such as R, SAS, Python, Tableau, MySQL, and Hadoop and Spark. So that would also be covered. That's not mentioned over here. You would be able to apply industry relevant analytical techniques such as regression, operative modeling, clustering, time series forecasting, classification, etc. You would be able to structure a business problem into an analytics framework using statistics and data modeling, which in a way is what a lot of companies essentially require, and which is something a lot of companies are willing to shell out money for. You will be able to manage and cleanse data using tools and a variety of data stores. But more importantly, guys, you will be able to present yourself, as you're saying, as an ideal candidate for analyst, data engineer, data scientist, technology analyst, technology engineer, junior data scientist roles, within leading analytics companies. So guys, if you see the image in the center, upon completion of the program, this kind of a certificate is what is being awarded to candidates, which says that you've successfully completed your postgraduate program in data science and engineering full-time from Great Lakes Institute of Management. Along with this, you are also awarded with all the relevant transcripts, basis your performance in the program and basis the grades that you guys score. So this is, yes, a full-time program which includes classroom learning plus hands-on lab sessions. The classroom and the lab sessions happen Monday to Thursdays, 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It has a 2-month hands-on project as well. So I'll be deep diving into the project and all of these things in the slides ahead. Eminent faculty and members, again I'll be covering these in the slides ahead. And yeah, the program does come with placement assistance. which starts, from your resume preparation sessions to interview preparation sessions, and then to eventually providing you interview opportunities with the leading analytics companies. So moving on to the next slide, guys. So guys, about the admission details for the program. So the program currently is across 4 different locations: Bangalore, Chennai, Gurgaon, and Hyderabad. The eligibility criteria for the program is that, as a candidate, you should have 60% or above in your 10th, 12th, and your graduation. The program is open for candidates who are in the final semesters of their graduation, or who just completed their graduation and, are awaiting the final semester results. The program is best pursued by candidates who are basically, coming from the graduation is in a quantitative discipline like engineering, mathematics, commerce, science, statistics, eco, etc. Now, the selection process for the program states, that first you need to apply for the program by filling an application form, which is online. Once you've done that, the admissions team reviews your application, okay, and they basically come up with a list of shortlisted candidates. The shortlisted candidates then go through the selection process further, which is an online aptitude test followed by an interview round. The final candidates, who get selected basis of the performing both of these, are then sent the final offer letters. The total fee for the program is 3 lakhs plus GST. So including GST, it's 3 lakhs 54,000, which includes your tuition fee, your lab access, your learning materials, and the cafeteria access that you guys will be having on the day the classes happen. The payments can be done online, and importantly, financial aid. So we have tie-ups with several lending partners just to ensure the candidates who are in need of financial aid, so the learning doesn't get hampered. So these loan providers to provide an education loan to these candidates. So guys, now the program curriculum, so as I was saying, it's a 5 months full-time program, okay, which includes the classroom learning and the hands-on lab sessions. So guys, the classroom and the class sessions and the lab sessions happen Monday to Thursdays every week, okay, 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. in the center. Now, whatever you guys learn Monday to Thursdays, you apply that in a weekly project every Friday to Sunday. Okay, so essentially, the entire week you guys are occupied. The program, is going to have close to 50 practice exercises, 48 in-class lab exercises that almost would be happening daily. There would be 12 to 15 weekly projects that you guys would be doing every week, Friday to Sundays. There would be 2 to 3 hackathons that would be conducted, and then the 2-month capstone project. So guys, now talking, about the curriculum, so to say. So the entire curriculum has been divided into 3 broader modules, each module to be taken up every month. So the first module for the program is the data science foundation module. Okay. So now also what we've done is going forward with the coming batches. So we'll be keeping, the first week as a preparatory week. So, just making candidates brush up their skills and all of that would be happening. So the data science foundation module, which is the first module, the subtopics for this would be R programming for data science, exploratory data analysis using Python, data visualization in Tableau, statistical methods for decision making, okay, and data cleansing, data manipulation. And so these would be some of the subtopics that would be covered in the first module that would be taken up in the first month of the program, and which is the data science foundation module. So guys, now the second module for the program would be the machine learning module. Machine learning in a way is the backbone for the program. Machine learning would be covered both in R and in Python. And the topics that would be covered under machine learning include a linear regression, a logistics regression, classification, decision trees, clustering, forecasting, text mining and sentiment analysis, principal component analysis, collaborative filtering, association rules, etc. So this would be the second module of the program, machine learning, to be taken up the entire second month. Now, guys, the third module that we've kept is, data engineering and domain applications. So both of these, even though they're mentioned separately over here, so both of this, comprise the third module and the last module of the program. Now, the topics that would be covered, under this module include big data engineering using Hadoop and Spark. So yes, we would be, covering Hadoop and Spark, but yeah, we wouldn't be, deep diving into it to a great extent. Uh, then SQL operations on RDBMS, data science using SAS, and then the domain applications, which include a financial and risk analytics, marketing and retail analytics, social media analytics, and other such applications. So the idea, guys, important for you to understand here, analytics is more of application, and less of theory, because that's the reason we've incorporated the weekly projects to be done every Friday to Sunday. That's the reason, we've kept the domain applications to be covered in third one, and that's the reason we've basically kept the Capstone project as well. So guys, once you are done with these three modules of the program to be covered in the 3 months, that is when now you guys get into the Capstone project. So now what exactly is the Capstone project and how exactly does it help you? So guys, the Capstone project, is a 2 month industry oriented live project wherein you guys are working on real data sets from companies. Okay. And uh, yeah, and you guys would be working under the mentorship of an expert into analytics. So the idea, basically is that whatever your learnings were for the entire week, you were applying that in the weekly project. Now, whatever your learnings are for the entire 3 months, you apply that in this 2 month extensive capstone project. Okay, we've had examples of, and a number of examples wherein the candidates who were working on the capstone project, the outcomes that they came up with were, so good that the companies actually implemented what their outcomes were, and and offered them a job as well because they found the project to be that good. So as I was saying, the project is going to bring in, all the learnings that you guys have gained in the program, and you will be working on problems that are relevant in the industry using the techniques and tools that you've mastered in the program. The capstone project, important to here to understand, since a majority of you guys, are coming up with relatively lesser experience, okay, or probably freshers with no experience, when you actually are sitting down for interviews with companies, what shouldn't come across is that apart from the good theoretical knowledge or the theoretical base that you have, there is just no practical exposure to analytics. So the 2 month project, is meant to impart that much needed practical exposure to analytics. So, and once you've done that, then probably when you're sitting down for interviews, you can actually showcase it to them that this is what basically, my credentials are, and and all of these are the tools and techniques that I applied during the 2 month capstone project. So this is majorly, what the Capstone project is all about. The 2 month extensive industry-oriented live project under the mentorship of an expert into analytics. So you guys will be having your weekly calls with your mentor, letting them know, as to what are the problems that you're facing and what are the weekly updates and all of that. So this, majorly covers up the Capstone project. So guys, now the most important part, which you guys would be interested in hearing, the placement assistance. Now, the placements, first of all qualifying candidates, will be extended placement assistance until 3 months post completion of the program. Okay. So what we are essentially planning to do is that we start off with the placements, probably at the end of the 4th month or so. And yeah, so 5th, 6th, and the 7th month is what we are essentially planning, the months for placements. Okay, so now the placement part, guys, starts from your resume preparation. So whatever skills and tools and technologies that you've gathered during the program, how exactly do you highlight them in the resume? Then preparing you guys for interviews, the analytics interviews, the companies that are hiring for analytics profiles, the interviews, don't necessarily happen the way they happen for other profiles. So a lot of companies hire through hackathons as well. So they'll conduct a hackathon Monday, and the top performing ones from on that particular day directly get into those companies. So the idea is to prepare you guys for interviews as to what are the frequently asked questions in the analytics interviews. What is it the companies look for when they're hiring someone for analytics position? third part and the most important part is providing you with opportunities, interview opportunities with leading analytics companies. So when I say leading analytics companies, so yeah, for example, the big analytics companies, the likes of an Accenture, Cognizant, American Express, eValueServe, ZS Associates, SmartCube. So this would be one set of companies that we expect would be coming, okay, and hiring you guys. The second set of companies that we expect would be coming would be a huge number of startups. So startups today are in dire need of analytics professionals. Uh, they need people, who can visualize data in a better manner, come up with better insights, and eventually can helping them provide a better customer experience. So startups, we expect a huge number of startups as well to participate in the recruitment process. Okay. So now the placement. So one of the ways that you guys would get recruited is via the placement drive that happens. Another, as I said, are the hackathons. Okay. And the other possibility also is that for the ones who are working very extensively on the Capstone project, you just might, get offered by the company itself, the company that has extended that project. So the idea is to provide ample interview opportunities to every candidate. Okay, important here again, guys, for you to understand what an institute can provide you are with opportunities. Okay, in the end, it is you who enters the interview room. In the end, it is you who has to convert that interview opportunity, not the institute. So yeah, so that is something that we can assure you of, that for all qualifying candidates, ample number of interview opportunities would be there. Okay, and yeah, we expect the batch to get placed by those opportunities. So guys, now the program faculty. So Dr. Mudit is the program director. So yeah, he's someone who's been working into analytics throughout his life. So he was the VP for analytics at American Express. He was the director for analytics at Deloitte, and he comes with a vast experience into analytics. So he'll be the program director for you guys. Uh, some of the other faculty, includes Dr. Sridhar, Dr. Basu, Dr. Narayana. So these guys again are leading faculty of Great Lakes, some of the best data science faculty, across India right now. Vast experience, into this field. They know what is required and all of that. So these would be some of the faculties that would be teaching you. Okay. So guys, now this is what an analytics e-portfolio looks like. So each and every one, of you that gets into the program and then, eventually graduates from the program, would be having an analytics e-portfolio of their own. So just imagine for a moment, along with your resume, if you attach your analytics e-portfolio as well, the kind of impression, that it creates in the mind of the recruiter. So if you look here closely, so it shows the skills and the expertise, as to what are the skills that the candidate used during the project. So it shows, first of all, it shows his Capstone project. So if you can see, tapping Twitter sentiments, a complete case study on 2015, Chennai floods. So that is what the project title for this particular candidate was. And then the tools that he used were R statistics, data mining, predictive modeling, and all of these. So then his summary, that social media messages about, you can go through it. His summary and then eventually his conclusion. So similarly, he's highlighted all of his other projects that he's worked on. So this is not something that you guys have to prepare yourselves. This is something that we basically would get prepared for you. Summary, obviously, summary and the conclusion you guys would have to put in. But the idea is to get an analytics e-portfolio built up for each and every one of you. So the next slide, guys, about the industry and experts and the guests. So if you see here, number of your lectures would be taken up by the corporate faculty as well. So some of these that are mentioned over here have been actively involved in designing the entire curriculum of the program. So the curriculum was designed, taking in complete inputs from the corporate faculty as to what it is that is required today in the corporate world. What is it that the companies are looking for, and all of that. Okay, so Some of them, would be acting as mentors to you guys. They would be taking up a number of Q&A sessions, mentorship sessions, guest lectures, and all of that. So, and if you see, all of these, basically come from a different experience, a different skill set, working with companies from different domains. So, interactions with them, what I found out from the previous batch are extremely, extremely valuable. The kind of inputs that these guys can give, the classroom, the other faculty just cannot. So guys, a bit about the alumni success now. Okay, so as I was presenting it to you in the previous slides as well, close to 5,000 professionals have gone through our various programs in analytics and data science. 66% of the alumni have, successfully transitioned to business and functional roles in the analytics industry within 12 months of completing the program. So guys, important for you now here to understand that the numbers that are presented over here, 66% in 12 months, these are for programs that never came with placements. So we were never offering placements for those programs. So they got jobs, they were able to make their transitions, entirely on their own. And basis, let's say some company approached us and we passed on that opportunity to candidates. So now when we're saying, that we're going to get a proper placement drive conducted, so, you can imagine the numbers going up to a great extent. So these guys, have made their transitions, from IT to analytics. A number of them were from non-tech roles such as a BD, business development, finance, operations, etc. And they've got into analytics. Transitions, have been to companies such as an Accenture, Cognizant Technology Solutions, IBM, RBS, Google, Microsoft, etc. And the alumni, are working in leadership positions across a number of leading analytics companies. So guys, this brings me to the end of the presentation. You guys can now just quickly type in any questions that you have in the chat box, and I'll just start taking your questions one by one. So yeah, there's one question from Prateek. Prateek says, can you kindly explain if the option to switch in data analytics is a good option for a couple of years of experienced candidate in retail sector? Yes, Prateek, yes. The answer to that is yes. Companies, we talk about companies across the retail sector. These companies are actually, are the ones who are looking, who are incorporating analytics into their day-to-day processes. These companies actually want to know what the consumer behavior is towards the purchases that they're making. So of, a number of sectors involved, retail is one sector which is using analytics to a huge extent. So yes, I believe the answer to your questions is pretty much a yes. Utkarsh says, is machine learning also included? Yes, Utkarsh, as I was explaining the curriculum, machine learning is the second module of the program. And yeah, the entire second month is dedicated to machine learning. Then there's one, from Vinayak. Vinayak says, please list out companies expected as well. Vinayak, the placement team is in touch with close to 200 companies right now. Obviously not possible for me to start listing out all of those companies. But as I was giving you different examples. So yeah, Accenture. So we've had, we've got a principal approval from all of these companies that I was just naming, which are Accenture, Cognizant, American Express, that is Associates, eValueServe, SmartCube. So these are some of the leading analytics companies who've given their approval that yes, they would be participating in the recruitment process. Apart from that, as I was saying, a huge number of startups to come as well. Then there's one from Girish. Girish says, is 3 months of classroom training plus 2 months of project sufficient to deliver such vast concepts? Girish, good question. See, now important here to understand, data science and engineering is one field, that requires a lifetime of learning. It cannot be covered in 5 months. It cannot be covered in a 1-year program, or in fact, even a 2-year program. Okay, but the way, we've planned out the program is that it is sufficient for you to enter into analytics. Okay, it is analytics is something which you have to constantly keep on learning. So it's not as if let's be honest, you do the program and apart post that there is just no learning required and the program gives you A to Z of analytics. Not true. For example, say artificial intelligence, AI is not a part of the program. So if you let's say get into a company, get into a job, and in the future, if you feel that you have to do AI as well, then, you'll have to do a different program for artificial intelligence again. Similarly, deep learning. So a number of these, a number of very very important analytics, the topics aren't even covered in the program. So, but answering your question specifically, would 5 months be enough? Yes, the way we've planned out the program. At the same time, important to understand, the effort has to come from your side as well. It's not a typical 1 year or a 2 year program wherein you come with the mindset, that you'll come, you'll attend the classes and you'll go back and you'll chill out. If that is, what the intent is, the program would not work for you at all. It is very rigorous, it is very intense. So as much as the effort that we'll be putting into it, we expect the same from the candidate as well. And yes, as long as that is happening, the program is gonna, yield benefits for you. Girish also says, does Great Lakes provide assistance on clearing doubts and career assistance post months? Not only, I mean, post 3 months, as we need to experience a bit by getting. Yeah, so Girish, see, it's not as if once the program has ended and you have any doubts or something, you can always reach out to the faculty. You can directly come to the institute and sit with the faculty. So it's not as if once you've graduated from the program, once you've become an alumni of the program, alums of a particular college are treated all the more importantly, more importantly even than the existing candidates, to be honest. So be rest assured on that front that even let's say when you've gotten into a job, you have doubts and all of that, you're most welcome to directly come to the institute and get all of those clarified. Then will the candidates get hands-on on SAS? Yes. So SAS, it's a part of the program, and yes, we'll be having a lab sessions onto that. Then there is Radhika. Radhika says, what is the role of engineering in this program? See, Radhika, important, to understand, it's not as if engineering is playing a role in the program. There's a huge misconception that a lot of candidates have, which is that, analytics has got a lot to do with people coming from the IT and the CS background, and who are good with probably, let's say, programming or something. A big misconception. Analytics has got a lot to do with numbers. People are comfortable, dealing with numbers, because if you're comfortable dealing with numbers, you'll be comfortable with statistics. Statistics is what is a prerequisite for analytics, not programming. And at the same time, whatever programming knowledge might be required, we've made that a part of the curriculum. So it's not as if engineering per se has got a lot to do with the program. But yeah, the assumption is if you're coming from an engineering background, you'll be comfortable with numbers. So that's what the assumption is. Then that's that's the role of engineering in the program. Then there is one from Sri Vallabha. He says, which is better to learn for data analytics, R or Python? Sri Vallabha, see, both of these tools have their own uses. Okay, a lot of companies completely rely on R, and then a lot of companies find a huge number of shortcomings in R, and they completely rely on Python. So that's the reason we've made all of these a part of the program. So we don't want you to be in a zone when you've graduated from the program and you're well versed with R, but you've just no idea what Python is. So every company, they find their own benefits and shortcomings in both of these. Then Vishal says, how much is the total duration of this program? See, Vishal, the total duration is 5 months. Okay, but yeah, the placements would be happening for the fifth, sixth, seventh month as well. Okay, but it's not as if for the placement parts daily you have to come to the institute. Okay, so as and when the company is coming, you guys come in that day for the recruitment, right? So essentially, the duration of the program is 5 months. Then there is one from Gautam. Gautam says, what are the offers and what package can I expect as a fresher, as I'm a BTech graduate completed in 2018? Yeah, so Gautam, see, to talk about the average for entry level jobs into analytics, ranges from 4 to 11 lakhs. Then the 4 to 11 completely depends upon how good or how bad you are as a candidate. Okay, And since it's you who enters the interview room, how much are you basically able to justify your value to the company? So but as the answer to a question as to what's the average, so yeah, this is what the average is for freshers, 4 to 11 lakhs. Then there's one from Sumer. Sumer says, being from entirely non-technical background with no knowledge about computer language, how difficult it would be for me. Sumer, I believe I answered this to some extent, but again, reiterating, for people coming from a non-programming background, please do not have any doubts. Analytics is not programming. Had that been the case, we, could have just mentioned that in the eligibility criteria itself, that only people from IT and CS background are eligible for the program. So that is not at all the case. So please get away from that misconception. And yeah, at the same time, whatever tad bit of programming knowledge that might be required for the program, that might be required, we've made that a part of the curriculum itself, so that would be taught to you guys during the program. So please be rest assured on that. Then there's one from Lakshmi. Lakshmi says, I worked for 1.4 years in IT industry. How to get into data scientist role? See, Lakshmi, since you, well, coming from an IT background, okay. So yeah, getting into data scientist role, yes, you would have to get, equipped with the right skill sets required to get into data scientist roles. And yes, that's what the program is all about, equipping you with the right skill set. Then there's one from Pavitra. Pavitra says, why is it only for professionals below 3 years experience? See, Pavitra, important here to understand, when a program gets designed, the program is designed keeping in mind a certain audience, okay? And that's how basically you basically design the lectures, the entire curriculum, as to keeping in mind the audience that it is catering to, okay? The program, the way it has been designed, it caters to younger audience, people who just graduated, and or who've just started working. Okay, for people with who have an experience set of more than 2 3 years or so, are basically the other programs that we have, which is our the BABI program or the machine learning program and all of that. So these candidates are eligible for those programs. But yeah, the way the program has been designed, it caters to the audience who've just graduated or who've just started working. So that's why we've kept the bar of 3 years. Then there's one from Kevin. Kevin says, I worked in BD for 2 years. If I'm shifting to the sector, would there be a problem in placements? Not at all, Kevin. As I was, explaining in one of the slides, is that we've had a number of candidates who've come from business development, finance. We've had doctors who've done the analytics programs. We had people from Army, Navy who are doing the program, and even CAs who are doing the program, getting into financial analytics. So yeah, not at all a problem for you. And business development, is one of the most commonly found professions around. So actually, you'll have a lot many people, besides you coming from BD. Now, then there's one from Utkarsh. Utkarsh says, I'm a recent engineering graduate, 2018 pass out. Does this mean that my placement chance is lesser than experienced individuals? Not at all, Utkarsh. That is not at all the case. That your placement chances are lesser. A lot of companies, on the other hand, want to hire freshers per se. So, it depends upon company to company. A lot of companies come with the mindset that they want young, fresh blood who have not worked and who are freshers, so that they can mold them the way that they want to. And then you have a number of companies who are interested in only hiring freshers. So yeah, each and every company, their own criteria. But yeah, and to a question specifically, before we had actually started the admissions process for the program, which was, in the month of February this year. Last year, October, November, and December, this program was presented to corporates for 3 months. So what we essentially, wanted to get was that if we are having, a particular set of candidates equipped with this skill set and coming from this experience range, or who are just freshers. So our company is interested in hiring them, and we went ahead with the program only once we had that principal approval from those companies. So yes, be rest assured, companies are looking to hire freshers who are well versed with analytics. Then Lakshmi says, do we have any accommodation provided at Great Lakes Center? No, Lakshmi, accommodation is not a part of the program. It's not included in the fee. But what we are essentially, looking at is tying up with some PGs or something close to the center for candidates who want an accommodation. whatever the costs and the charges are would be conveyed to the candidates, and we'll be sharing the details and everything, and the candidates can just take it up directly with the PG owner or something. Then Kevin says, what certifications would I get after the program completion? Kevin, I had highlighted this in one of the slides as well. Upon completion of the program, you'll be awarded with a certificate stating that you've successfully completed your postgraduate program in data science and engineering from Great Lakes Institute of Management. Along with that, you would be awarded with the relevant transcripts and everything. Because let's say if you're planning to basically pursue a higher degree or something into analytics, a lot of companies ask for transcripts. So yeah, we would be providing that as well. Then there's one from Dinesh. Dinesh says, do you guys have tie-ups with universities from abroad? So yes, Dinesh. So for a number of programs that we have, we've tied up with Stewart School. We are thinking of in talks for tie-ups with the University of Virginia. For this program, as of now, we have not had that tie-up. Okay, but yeah, probably we're expecting that to happen in the next 2 to 3 months. So as and when that happens, the certification that is awarded to you guys would then state would then have both Great Lakes Institute of Management as well as Stewart School of Business on the certificate. Then there's one from Babu. Babu says, on checking online, mostly every companies ask for experienced data scientists. Do they take freshers? See, Babu, there's a difference in the fact if you are approaching a company directly and if you are getting interviewed with a company through an institute. Okay, a huge difference. Okay, because when you're getting interviewed with a company through an institute, the company is coming on the fact that basically the reputation of the institute, first of all, that if the candidate is good enough to get into the institute, the companies assume they'll be good enough for me as well. And specifically if you ask me for a data scientist role, we have our alumni with 17 or 18 years of experience who's just been made a data scientist. So let's have the right expectations as well. It's not as if the moment you graduate from the program, you immediately become a data scientist. You might have to start with data analyst roles. You might have to start with data engineer, technology analyst roles, and then it entirely depends on company to company. A very small startup might just, immediately offer you a data scientist profile. Okay. Or, a big company would never offer you a data scientist profile because for them, a data scientist obviously is someone with 17, 18, 20 years of experience. So yeah, they do take freshers, obviously, but it's not as if they're immediately, they'll hire in a fresher and make him a data scientist. That's not the case. Then Kevin again says, do I need to know any technical coding language before joining the course? No, Kevin. As I was saying, we've made that a part of the curriculum. So as such, there is no need for you to go through it all over again and all of that. You can join the program, and all of what is required as far as technical knowledge is concerned would be taught to you during the program. Then there is Siddharth. He says, for how many months we need to come 4 days per week at center? So Siddharth, as I was explaining, the classes and the lab sessions happen for 3 months. So yeah, so 3 months, essentially 12 weeks. Then Hemashri says, I'm a fresher with non-IT background, BA into electrical and electronics engineering. Will this course be helpful in beginning a career in analytics? So Hemashri, that's what the program is primarily meant for. That is exactly what it does. It gives you your much needed entry into analytics. So yeah, the answer to your question, yes, it would help you in beginning your career into analytics. Then there's one from Pratik. Pratik says, you mentioned in the seminar that mentor shall guide you well in real world. Pratik, what I meant was the mentor that would be assigned to you would be helping you out in your Capstone project. The Capstone project, as I was telling you, you'll be working on real data sets from companies. Okay. And that mentor that would be assigned to you, you'll be having a weekly calls and everything with him, letting him know what the updates are as to, how much you've progressed in the project. And yeah, you can always, it's not as if the project ends, the communication ends. You can always, build a good rapport with your mentor and, continue taking his advice even after the project is ended. Arthi says, will you provide placement guarantee? Arthi, to be honest, there is no institute in the country which provides a placement guarantee. And the ones that do are lying. So as an institute, what you can provide with are opportunities. You cannot force a company to take in a candidate. Okay, so what I can guarantee you are opportunities. What I cannot guarantee you is a placement, because in the end it's not me, it's not the institute going for the interview. It's you who goes for the interview. It's you who has to show your value to the company, and it's you who has to convert the interview opportunity. So yeah, if you ask me in plain simple terms, will you provide placement guarantee? Then the answer is no. Do we get taught on and practice on real-time data sets? Do we need any pre? So yes, Babu, you as Capstone project, for example, is we are working on real data sets only, and yeah, so do we get taught and practice on real-time data sets? Yes. So the answer to yes is yes. Then Kevin says total fees is this residential program? No, Kevin, this is not a residential program. Total fees is 3 lakhs plus GST, all inclusive, 3,54,000. Then Utkarsh says is recruitment drive shared to all campuses. That is Chennai, Bangalore. See, Utkarsh, all the batches come in from different dates, and hence they graduate on different dates. So it's not as if all the batches across all locations sit for the placement in one go. So the placements, will be happening. So when we are approaching companies, it's not as if we are approaching them with a particular batch in mind. We are approaching them in a way that, let's say we have a pool of 200 candidates graduating across all locations. Okay, so what we are bothered is with 200 candidates. So, and then it basically depends upon the need of the company. So let's say Chennai is the batch is commencing probably graduating 15 days from now, and so there's a company who has an immediate requirement, they'll go hire from Chennai. And probably there's another batch which is graduating 1 month from now, so another company can hire for that batch as well. So it depends upon as to what the requirement of that particular company is. So then the Vishal says, in which year was this program established? So Vishal, the program was started this year. So the first batch is already underway in Bangalore. And as for our analytics credentials, I had again shared that we've had our analytics programs, running for 5 years now. Then there is one from Hari Prakasham, and purely depending on the campus placement. So yes, Hari Prakasham, as I was telling you, that is a part of the program. Kevin says, what would be the student count of a class? So Kevin, on an average, we're keeping it 45 to 50 students, but we keep making it small batches only. We are not increasing, the batch size to a very big amount. Is this the first batch for the program? Asks Radhika. Radhika, no, this is not the first batch. The first batch is already underway. It commenced in the month of May in Bangalore. Then Siddharth says, for fresher, is this an appropriate program out of all the programs at Great Lakes? You want to be a data scientist and work in machine learning. So yes, Siddharth, we've specifically come up with this program, for people, for the younger audience, people just graduating, people just started working. We've had multiple programs running across years, okay, and catering to the working audience, people with 5 years, 6 years of work experience. And we used to get a lot of requests from companies wherein they wanted the younger lot. They wanted candidates with lesser experience and all of that. So as I was telling you, once taking into account all the requests that we were getting from companies, and then post that, taking into account when we started approaching different companies, letting them know, as I was explaining earlier, that this would be the program that we are thinking of coming up with, and whether companies would be interested in hiring them. So yes, as a fresher, this is the appropriate program for you. Then Pradeep says, has been told first batch of DSCFT start this year. Can you please highlight the placement of this current batch? Pradeep, the batch is yet to sit for placement. So as and when we have the report, so we'll be publishing that. But yeah, we are expecting the batch to get very easily placed, considering the traction that we have from companies. Pavitra asks about when will the next program for data science commence. So Pavitra, the admissions are currently open, so you can apply for the program. Then Kevin says, can you please share the webinar video through mail so that I could discuss it with my parents? So yes, Kevin, you can reach out to the admissions team after the webinar and request for the video. So the admissions team will be sharing that with you. So guys, I believe I have answered, most of all the questions. Okay. So guys, thank you all, for joining me on this webinar. It was fantastic interacting with you. Number of good questions I received. So uh, any personalized career counseling, guys, or any other queries, you can always reach out to the admissions team on the phone number or on the email ID provided. Okay. Also, a reminder that today is the deadline for you to complete the application form and apply for the program. So you can always reach out to the admissions team, on the phone number and the email ID provided. So guys, and with this, I'll thank you again and for joining me and have a good day. Thank you.